right, guys, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, this is so bad. No pepper spray left.
Fresh one. Perfect.
All right, round two. Ready?
So can I go now? Oh, wait. No. So can I go now?
You're good.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Fireside Chats. We've got quite a few people here and a really interesting conversation for you today. So yeah, Dan, why don't you tell us what we're going to be talking about?
Today we're going to talk about pepper spray and its effectiveness and use for the everyday carry citizen. I am under the impression you all recently were exposed to pepper spray.
Oh, it hurts so bad.
That good, huh?
Oh, it hurts so bad. Whose idea was this?
For the first time, most of you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
My first time.
Is your first time?
Sir.
Your first time?
Yeah, first time.
Have you been exposed before?
Yeah.
You've been I want to hear that story. Pepper spray is an extremely useful tool for the everyday carry citizen for less than lethal encounters. The vast majority of self-defense encounters aren't lethal encounters. You've got everything from the aggressive panhandler or somebody just being assaultive in some way, shape, or form that doesn't justify a deadly use of force. And that's what we usually concentrate on in training because it's such a high liability area and the results of those are extreme. But the fact of the matter is that most of the time it's not going to require that. We kind of preach the evade and get away from everything, but there are times that you just can't. You're carrying around kids at the food line or whatever, and you can't just immediately leave. And if there's a situation in which you have to address some level of threat, pepper spray is, in my opinion, one of the go-tos as a use of force tool, an intermediate use of force tool. Pepper spray's a aerosolized compound that has capsaicin in it, and that is derived naturally from peppers, and it comes in a bunch of different strengths in terms of how much of it is in there and the heat of the capsinoids, which is measured in Scoville heat units, same as hot sauce. Anybody watch Hot Ones, Hot Takes? What you watch that? So you have some stuff that's usually measured. Some of the entry level or cheaper pepper sprays, maybe 100, 150,000 SHUs all the way on up. The highest stuff that I'm aware of is made by Fox. It's called Fox 5.3. It's 5.3 million SHUs. I have been exposed to it before, and if I had had a knife on my person, I'd have cut my face off in order to stop the pain. It was absolutely terrible. You guys were all exposed to POM, right? POM's measured, I think, around 2 million SHUs, which is pretty good stuff. Did you guys all get to use practice stuff and practice deploying it, inner practice pepper spray?
Yes.
I think that's an incredibly important training to undergo so that you have that familiarity of how to use it.
Well, the cool thing with Palm is you can order trainers from them and practice them and stuff. That's something we learned in John Murphy's class was just having that ability to. You dry fire with your handgun. Why not dry fire with your pepper spray as well? So that was one of the bigger influences on my decision to go with Palm over like Fox or something like that. Also, the fact that it's teeny tiny little
fits right in your pocket.
Yes,
it's so easy to carry around.
That is the it's the first one of those that I've seen that's not like the the gas station keychain
Yeah.
pepper spray, which I'm leery of anything sold at the Exxon counter. It's not the way to go when it comes to a self-defense tool. My oldest daughter is headed to college. She's at the local community college right now, but she's going to NC State next year. And so that, it's a big concern for me. She's going to be away from me by a considerable distance. And I want to make sure she has a tool. She's a tiny little person and she's not like me, not aggressive in any way, shape, or form. I want to make sure she's got a tool to use. But I bought some Fox pepper spray along with an inert trainer, but I don't like the size of it because it's what they call a Mark III canister. It's I think 3 ounces. It's about the same height as that, but it's a lot thicker. It's probably 2.5 times around that. It's not really conducive to pocket carry or anything else like that. So I'm probably going to end up getting her some of that. But I had her use the inert and practice on my son. Had him attack her a couple of times, and she sprayed him with the inert. And I was tempted to let her spray him with the real stuff too. Just because he's him.
All right, so
Don't
since we're talking about live agents, we're all going to be giving our experiences with our first time being hit with capsaicin. What experiences have you had with pepper spray?
I'm in my 23rd year of being a police officer now, and that's part of basic law enforcement training is being exposed to live agent and going through that specifically for the reason of the chances of you being at least cross-contaminated during a use of force encounter. Wind blowing, new officers under high stress, not necessarily super familiar with technique and tactic, being cross-contaminated can and does happen. Ask me how I know. So for myself, I hate being exposed to pepper spray. Being sprayed is very incapacitating for me. I know that there are people out there who it really doesn't have much an effect on it. There was one small female in my academy class a long time ago, got sprayed right across the face, and she just blinked and just waited. And the instructor sprayed her again. She blinked and waited, and there was no response. They sprayed her like 6 times or something like that, and there was no ill effect to her at all. And I've never seen that kind of thing before. Myself, if I get sprayed with something, I can force my eyes open, but it's so painful, and I do not want to take part in whatever is occurring after that. I would say percentage-wise, I've sprayed or been present for, I don't know, probably somewhere in excess of 50 or 60 actual uses of pepper spray over the course of my career. I would say probably 80%, 85% effective in terms of you get some level of incapacitation for the person who is being exposed to the agent. For my purposes as a law enforcement officer, totally different scenario because I am duty obligated to take that person into custody. Yeah. For the everyday citizen, this is a stun and run thing. Right. This is a, get away from me and leave in the area.
So in that aspect, in terms of, were you measuring that 85% effectiveness based off of your standard as a law enforcement officer, or do you think, how many of those do you think you could have actually stun and run, or could have seen somebody stun and run?
When I say 80-85%, that is it had the intended effect of they close their eyes and they're concentrating on something other than what they were intent on doing at the time that they were sprayed, whether it was fighting with the cops or running from the cops or whatever it happened to be. Somewhere between 15 and 20% of people, whether it had to do with their level of intoxication, what substances that they were on, or some sort of natural immunity. I was told Colton, that you weren't immediately incapacitated. Really, it didn't really have the intended effect upon you immediately.
Oh, it's my eyes now. How you feeling, Colton?
Oh, it's hurt.
Not that bad.
Easy day.
You closed your eyes, didn't you?
I did. Sorry, I couldn't keep them open. I tried. I totally cheated.
I can't open my eyes.
I can't either.
Permanently closed now.
Man, she got me in the mouth though.
Tastes like pepper. Yeah, it's pretty good.
We need some water.
It hurt like crazy, but I was just trying to look tough. But I think having been exposed to it previously, I kind of knew what to do and didn't panic. I think was the biggest thing for me.
Okay, so you think the familiarity of having been exposed before avoided like a mental shutdown?
Yes.
Yeah. Teresa, would you feel when you were exposed? Did it have the oh my God sort of effect?
So can I go now?
You're good.
Oh my god. So I've always thought that I was pretty good with pain. And so I was kind of like, yeah, like let's get pepper sprayed. It's gonna suck. Like I didn't think it
Yep.
wasn't gonna suck. But like I thought that I would be able to mentally push myself through, like Colton, was saying. I thought I could mentally push myself through to just do what I needed to do. And I got sprayed. I felt the pepper spray hit my eyeballs, like the inside of my eyeballs. And so when that happened, my eyeballs immediately shut. And all of a sudden, my first thought was like, wow, this sucks. And then I was like, I'm not breathing. I should probably breathe right now. And so I started just focusing on my breath because it like made my body shut down. Mm-hmm. And so I had to focus on my breathing. And then I was like trying to open my eyes. My eyes wouldn't open. I was supposed to be finding the table to the gun. I was like, I have no idea where I am right now. And so I like stumble over to the table and I ended up trying to force my eyes open with my fingers to try to blink. And it was probably over an hour before I could effectively even see and open my eyes.
All right, so you said go over to the table. Did you guys have a training iteration? What was the intent post exposure to? Since I wasn't here for it.
So realistically, as hastily as this was set up, because everybody was just kind of excited, let's go ahead and get this done. We needed to do something afterwards. I felt like just to measure your ability to overcome that stressful situation, and just kind of measure your cognitive skills at that moment. So short of doing a math test, I figured we just disassemble some firearms and put them back together. So we set out a few Glocks on the table, and all you were expected to do is get sprayed, walk over to the table, take the Glock apart, put it back together. It wasn't meant to be anything like, like the Marine Corps, get sprayed in the face, now go beat up that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, and then afterwards go run a PFT.
Right.
It wasn't meant to be that. It was just meant to see how well you can actually do something while dealing with the pain. So that's what we were doing.
So your intent was to be able to some level of mental focus post exposure.
Yeah.
Okay, it makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. As you said in the Marine Corps, you get exposed to CS gas, and you then fight that guy or whatever it happens to be. Same thing in law enforcement and training. You get an exposure, and then you got to fight that guy. You got to put that guy in handcuffs, and it's got to be done correctly.
Right.
It can't be handcuffed his left arm to his ear, his head.
That one didn't me.
Yeah. So I think that's probably a really good training evolution for this purpose.
Yeah.
I really like that you guys did that. It's smart.
So you got sprayed right across the eyeballs. Did you get sprayed right across the eyeballs the first time?
The first time?
Or she
no,
just-
she got me on the forehead and then down through here.
Yeah.
And I closed my eyes because it was a reflex.
Well, of course.
But after that, if I crossed my eyes, I wouldn't see it coming and got it right to the eyeballs.
All right. So, but the first time you got hit across the forehead, Derek, what was your initial experience?
There's no way.
I can't breathe. Like I'm starting to panic.
Breathe, man.
Come spray me in the face.
My nose is so stopped up.
With the spray.
Instant regret. Yeah, as soon as it hit my eyeballs, which mine did the first time, they closed and would not open again.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
How you holding up there, man?
I'm alive.
What? Is it getting any better?
No.
Not at all. No. You just learn how to deal with it better, huh? Yeah. Where does it hurt?
Huh?
Where does it
I
hurt?
said my nose is so stopped up and I can't breathe.
Your nose is stopped up. See, I thought it
Completely.
would clear you up, man.
It is so stopped up right now.
You feel better tomorrow, though.
About how long did it take you to get regain your composure? And were you able to get the gun taken apart and put back
I
together?
got the a field strip, got the slide put back together, and then somebody stole my frame.
Well, put it back together.
Eyes are closed, could not see.
You were beating me, bro. I had to
Well, it was your idea to get sprayed, wasn't it?
Oh no. This is all you.
And you two started this whole thing. It was supposed to just be you two. We all got drugged into this.
So Colton was like, "Yeah, cool, we'll do it."
But only, you know.
Yeah, but he's down for everything. This doesn't matter. Hey, you want to do this? Sure.
Fair enough.
But it was brutal, but definitely glad I did it.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from that and how effective that pepper spray is.
And how much time for somebody that's been programmed to have it or doesn't react as much. Like,
Right, because
what am I gonna do if it doesn't work? And having, like, for me, knowing and actually seeing, like, I've heard of the stories, but actually seeing how somebody can still function after being pepper sprayed, like, that's something that really just stuck.
Right.
It's
To know that, like, if he's still coming, then it's deadly force. Like, there's gonna be no hesitation in my mind now, where last time I'd be like, well, why isn't the pepper spray working?
Right.
You know, and so now I know that, like, oh, this guy should shut down. I know what that actually looks like.
and feels
And
like
so now I need to drop that thing and
It's a disconcerting feeling when you execute something that you have previous training in that should have some kind of effect and then does not. The first time I broke somebody's arm and then they just looked at me and punched me in the face with the other hand, that was a really disconcerting feeling because when I break your arm, that should distract you from in some way, shape, or form, and it didn't, and that's a terrifying feeling. So when you, knowing how you feel, whack somebody in the face with some pepper spray, and they go, "Now what?" Okay, now I got something for it.
That's actually something I was kind of wondering about. You mentioned earlier that like the 85% effectiveness and like how inebriation or drugs affected it.
Yes.
Could you kind of like break that down on scenarios? Because I hadn't really considered that and which ones actually, like, what is alcohol more likely to make people push through it, or
I feel
or
like
were you
that would
talking
make
more
me
like
want
people-
to stop even.
Yeah,
I just want to go.
like
to
I would
sleep.
realize oops, I made a mistake, but I'm thinking like PCP, like what kind of like
meth.
I'm thinking like someone in a
Massive.
bar doing something, or like
I mean, you've run across all kinds of drunks, right? You got happy drunks who, you get pretty good and happy, and it's just, you're laughing and joking and having a good time. And you've met those people, they get 4 or 5 drinks in them, and all of a sudden they want to fight everybody, right? They're just different kinds of people, and different substances affect those kinds of people very, very differently. I have seen people who were very intoxicated on alcohol, and it just didn't seem to have an effect. Whether those people had some sort of natural immunity as well, no idea. I couldn't tell you. I didn't do a follow-up interview. I will say that the majority of people who have been very high on things like cocaine, methamphetamines, or PCP don't have as much of a pain response. And that's what pepper spray does. It activates a very specific pain response. And when you're sober and are not immune to it, it makes you hurt and you want to stop. You want everything to stop because my face is on fire. and you want to seek some kind of cold or water to stick your face in to make it stop hurting. But if you have something that's going through your body that is shutting down that pain response, it's not magic. There's no magic. I don't want to say bullet, but there's no. There's nothing that's just going to make everybody stop doing what they're doing. Not pepper spray, not tasers, not asp-batons, not, good defensive tactics or anything else like that. I mean, hell, we've all heard stories of people who were shot multiple times in the chest cavity and keep fighting through. It's not magic, but it is a good tool to use.
Trey, you're, what in the world were you thinking, man? Like, doing this, are you happy you did it?
Oh yeah, I'm really happy I did it. I was just curious to carry around this thing in my pocket that I just have faith in, but I've never experienced it. I don't know what it does, so I wanted to have faith that I could handle some blowback if I had to spray somebody, in the air that wind got me, or if I had to use on somebody that it might be effective. But going into it, I think I had a pretty strong mindset. Like, this is going to suck really bad, and there might be some panic wanting to seep in. Just if it happens, you're going to be okay. It's just going to last for 30 minutes, whatever. It's going to suck for a little bit, but it's going to fade and it'll be all right. So I was ready for it. I mean, I think I was really pretty well mentally prepared for it. And then when I got sprayed, at first I thought it was a joke. I guess that doesn't work. It took about a full minute for it to set in for me. And I guess, I probably closed my eyes and my mouth and everything when I saw it coming, just natural reaction. And then about a minute, it hit my eyes.
Well, that's good. Trey, I haven't got to see you yet, man. Why don't you open up your eyes and talk to me?
I can't. I would love to have my eyes, but I can't have my eyes.
Seriously, where's the bottle of water?
And then for the next 10 minutes, I was blind. Mentally, I was there. I was laughing, joking, talking around. Mental space was just fine. I felt like I was okay, but I couldn't see anything. So I was definitely incapacitated because I can't see what's coming at me. Or if I want to shoot and run, whatever, I spray and run, and it got me. I don't know where I'm going. I walked around the range porch like this because I was trying to feel out what was in front of me.
Woo. I can't see where I'm going.
And it wasn't as bad as I expected it to be.
This sucks, but it wasn't as bad as I thought.
Oh no, it's horrible. Somebody help me. Yeah.
But it definitely effective. But Colton taught me that if you just force through the pain and just blinking a bunch, that the tears stop flowing. It washes your eyes out, and then once I did that, I was cleared up in about a minute.
Hey Colton, can you see yet?
Yeah.
What the hell? You're like superhuman, bro.
I've had it done before. So also really getting it out physically is important because water activates it. So it's not like it's going to go away if it doesn't get out of your eyes.
Well, how the frick do you get out of your eyes?
How do we get rid of it?
Open, and it'll cause the tears to get it out.
Wash it out.
Yeah. So you actually have to force yourself to open your eyes.
I do, but when I do it, I get so much more. You're right. If you just cry, it makes it better.
It makes it so much better.
Oh, I want to cry. I want to cry so bad.
You're the best.
And my face was just warm. I would do it again. Yeah, it wasn't so bad that I'd never do it again.
You're a glutton for punishment. I have a choice in the matter. I will never get sprayed. Never get sprayed again.
I gotta make.
I'll do tasers all day.
You said 10 minutes is about how long you think you were completely blind.
I think so. Yeah.
10 minutes. And that's a long time.
But
so you think about
I think if, now that I know what I know, I could have been not blind much quicker.
right. If you think about timing in that application, in this actual specific application, using pepper spray in a self-defense situation or a civilian spraying another individual and then immediately running away, 10 minutes is a long window.
That's an
I can walk back to my vehicle 200 yards away and drive to the police station before he actually regains his vision.
Right.
So not just regains his purpose, but regains his vision. For me, my initial reaction was, oh man, that's hot. That's really spicy. But she hit me, or you hit me, right across the forehead at force, right across the eyebrow. So I had a little bit in my eyes, but I was able to keep my eyes open. I'd say probably for we've got video, probably maybe 15, 20 seconds. And I just walked over to the table, walked my way to the table. I was able to see the gun, and I sat there for a minute thinking to myself, should I say something? Like, 'cause this is hot, but it's nowhere near what I thought it was going to be. And I blinked my eyes, and I think it just had to take its time to run down.
Get in there.
And once it got in my eyes, when I closed my eyes to blink, they wouldn't open back up.
Yeah.
And then it felt like somebody was stabbing me in the eyeballs with a blade. You know, so it was really, really, really violent after I finally closed my eyes. But I knew, as you said, I had to get them open again so I could start blinking and trying to flush that out.
It burns my eyebrows. Yeah, it does.
Hey, you feeling there, Tim?
Actually, my eyebrows hurt. I think worse than
Anything else?
eyeballs. Yeah.
So I struggled for the next, I don't think it was that long. I think it was probably more 15, 20 seconds before I could actually get my eyes back open. But in the meantime, if I had my hands on something, I was able to, especially if it's something that was familiar to me,
Right.
I was able to
Manipulate
get through
it.
it with pretty good ease, right? It took me a while afterwards to really recover. And I remember kind of joking about it a little bit to myself, like this really does suck, as a matter of fact. And then not catching that subconscious panic and recognizing it from, other experiences and going, you might want to like stop for a second and take some breaths. Otherwise you're about to go into a panic mode,
Yeah.
right? And you don't want that. So I was able to, to regain that. Now, if I had to go and fight dummy after dummy after dummy, it would have probably been a lot more difficult.
Oh, I would have failed at that.
So
I wouldn't fight.
So you said a couple
I was
things. You said a couple things that I want to touch on. So your target, all right, your target as an everyday carry citizen, all right, needs to be inside the eyebrows, all right, not forehead, all right, inside the eyebrows, above the chin, all right. You want to get it all in here. Those palms, they probably only carry about 3 blasts, three, four half second, 3/4 second blasts. And if you miss the first time, you really need to engage that properly. If the spray effect, it is possible to get a psychological incapacitation, right? You get away from me and you spray like that. Even if it doesn't hit them, they're like, oh, this person's serious. They really don't want to be bothered right now, and they could leave. That's still effective. It's not effective the way you intended, but at least you're not engaged that way anymore.
Right.
The second thing I want to say is that you touched on about going back to your car is understand you really need to call 911. You need to get the police there to the area that occurred and file that report because you have used force against another person. You've assaulted a person in self-defense, but you have assaulted another person. And if that comes out another way, they make the report, hey, this person, I was walking near them and they just pepper sprayed me in the face, and then they get videos and your license plate and things of that nature. It could go a way you don't intend. Make sure that you call
Be the first one to call.
Be the first one to call the police and be upfront about what occurred and that you did what you did in self-defense. Generally speaking, the cops aren't your friends, but you want to get ahead of something like that. And what do we advocate for of having self-defense insurance of some kind? You probably want to get on the phone with your legal representation as well. Regardless of the fact it's not a deadly force thing, you don't know who you're going to get as a responding officer. It could be somebody who either isn't familiar, or they don't like you for whatever reason, or they're sad that they now have to do some work.
Right.
So those are things that are really important to touch on.
All right, so I don't want to focus a whole lot on like what this stuff won't do. I mean, we should make sure the viewers understand that there is a chance that you could hit somebody with this and they respond. They don't stop doing whatever it is that they were doing that warranted being sprayed in the face with pepper spray, right? But a large part of the time, this works, and it is definitely a viable tool for self-defense. It's something that folks should consider carrying. and especially if you're carrying a gun and you don't have anything, as Chuck Haggard says, if you don't have anything between a harsh word and a gun, really what you've got are your fists, and for those of you that have actually been in several fist fights, I'm too lazy to want to do that anymore, to be quite honest. Especially knowing now what these things will do. Oh my God, that's so much easier. I don't have to fight it out with you and risk getting my nose broken again. No, I'm just going to spray you in the face and.
They used to when pepper spray mace before it came out back in the 70s, cops used to call it karate in a can.
Yeah.
Back when my father was a young law enforcement officer back in the 70s, they called it karate in a can.
So, but for the majority of the time, this stuff is very effective, and it's definitely something that you should be considering carrying. But back to those that did not have an immediate effect. Like I didn't have an immediate effect. I feel like I probably could have lasted for another 15, 20 seconds or whatever, doing whatever it is that I was doing. It's a long window of opportunity for an assailant, right? But that 15, 20 seconds it takes me to open up my eyes, that's a large window of opportunity for me as the victim to get away, right? For Colton here, you got sprayed 3 times. 3 times. First one was, would you say, just pretty well ineffective? I could have continued terrorizing you if I wished?
I would have probably done more than I would have if I was a bad person.
Yeah.
I would have been angrier, and I would have probably
poked the bear. Okay.
Yeah,
Second hit.
Got me right in the eye, but still not much. It was because as soon as it hit my eye, I closed them and reflexively. My other eye was fine.
Were you able to? Okay.
Yep, I was fine within 2 seconds. Yeah.
Okay. And then the third time.
I got 2 full blasts right to the eyeballs. That one, I was still mentally there. My eyes were closed for probably 10 seconds. But other than that, no, I was probably still.
So lesson learned. I know Tom Givens is. I'm pretty sure this come from him, but he talks about shooting them until they change their attitude or they change shapes, right? With pepper spray, I'd say it would be the same thing. You continue applying it until they stop doing whatever it is that they're doing. It's not a simple ominous dominus, you're incapacitated for a lot of folks. It's I'm going to spray you until this thing runs out or until you stop doing whatever it is that you were doing.
Yeah,
so you think if it would have if you just continued to get doused with all 3 hits straight to the face, you think it would have made a difference?
Yeah, mine was a perfect example of an escalation of dose with each one, and if I got more, I definitely would have been out of the fight a lot longer.
Okay.
Incapacitated, yeah.
Awesome, man. All right, well, I guess the next thing I want to hit on is the administrative stuff. You almost stopped this thing before it even started.
Yeah, man, it was
no, this is not working out. We should just do this another time, right? And largely because it was just we were so unprepared for it. Right. We really had to psych ourselves out to do it, right?
The final straw was I was trying to get sprayed and you were recording the kids, and I was like, well, no, we're just done here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think doing it near a garden hose would have been good.
You guys didn't have a hose ready?
No. Here's
We had no water.
check this out. So no, we really were not prepared for this.
We had a bottle of water.
No. I even said, John Murphy said, have a water hose. We need a water hose. That's what John Murphy said. And nobody listened.
But this was as real of an experience as you could possibly
I was going to say, try
Right.
how you're in real life.
I'm not mad
I mean,
about it.
this
You
was
don't walk around with a water hose.
understanding the long-term effects of this stuff and just how long this could last to the assailant. That was a big thing for me because it was almost 24 hours before I didn't feel any more heat on my face. All right. But that was only because I wanted to stay away from water. I did that one hit with a water bottle on there. I was like, this does nothing.
Yeah.
This does absolutely nothing.
I think it made
I was
it
able to
worse for me.
open my eyes and try to flush it out the best I could. And this does nothing. So I stopped, gave up on the water, and that was the only dose of water I got until, what was it, 3 o'clock in the morning the next morning? I went and laid down on the basement couch, and went and laid down there. Couldn't sleep. Picked up my phone, started playing on the phone. Still burnt. My face still burned, but my eyes were fine. I was blinked. Oh my God! So I got my second hit at about 3 o'clock in the morning. I finally went upstairs and started spraying my face off with water and said, I know this is going to reactivate it, but I've just got to get this stuff out. So I finally...
you didn't do a lot of reading.
And I basically just washed until it stopped hurting every time I rinsed.
Right.
You know.
All right, so for informational purposes, it's the continuous flushing of water that makes it a shorter duration. Just to let everybody know, you're an idiot.
So I actually did read about it a little bit afterwards, and so OC actually stands for like oleoresin capsicum.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's not water soluble, so what you're actually doing is literally just flushing it out or trying to dilute it.
Yeah.
But it's because you don't really want to use organic solvents on your face.
That's what I was
No,
saying.
no, you don't. No.
Or anything
No, it's
molded,
the continuous flushing of water. It doesn't it disperses it from being on your skin, rather than dilute it to such an extent that it's no longer, because it's not soluble in water.
Well, that makes sense.
It's actually one of the things that makes it so effective.
It is a continuous
sticks around.
flushing of the eyes, and sinus cavities that helps get rid of that.
I get it, and I don't necessarily regret not immediately flushing out, just for understanding just how long this stuff is going to last on somebody.
And it will reactivate
without them getting to a garden hose.
100% will.
This is going to it's going to reactivate.
It does.
And
You go through it twice once you're sprayed.
That was my mentality going into it. Is like I don't want to make it stop. Like I want to be able to suck as long as it's gonna go on, because if I'm out in the city streets somewhere, I don't have a hose.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a giant water bottle.
How long is this going to last?
Yeah.
How long is this going to take? How much time do I have before before I can actually get to something, and to make this stop? But I guess the answer to that question is it's going to take a long time if you can't get to water, if you can't get to some kind of hose or something like that.
Yeah.
And with me, it was hours, and even after rinsing my face, when I went into the house, I mean, it would probably been an hour after I got sprayed, and I was doing the continuing rinsing. That almost caused a panic attack effect on me, because I started inhaling it. And so where it wasn't in my mouth before, all of a sudden I was inhaling it from the continuous washing of my face, so it made it 10 times worse. And I ended up having to stop washing my face, and the only thing that seemed to help me was drinking water, which, like, even though it wasn't in my mouth before, all I wanted to do was drink water. I probably pounded like 6-7 water bottles and walking. I had to walk to get the air. That was the only thing
air
that
movement
helped
across
me.
your face, especially once your face is wet. Air movement across your face makes it feel much better, because you get that cool feeling coming across your face. When we do pepper spray iterations at my job, we have one of those big hurricane fans going, and you'll see the new officers who've just been sprayed and stuff like that. They'll rinse out with the hose, they'll rinse out, and then you just see them, they just blast their face right in front of the fan, because it feels much better. Those are the things. Had I been consulted on this spraying version,
I mentioned it, and I hope it's on video. I mentioned it. We should probably call Dan Brady.
because I would have been like, hey, you should probably have like 2 or 3 box fans going, like at once, like on a table, so everybody can get their face in front of it, and have a water.
We had one 20-ounce bottle of water.
Yeah, that was dumb.
And
can't have nothing.
Right.
Well, and I was so disoriented, I couldn't even get the water on my face. Like, I was so dizzy and disoriented. Like, there was no me taking a water bottle to my face.
And also,
water.
make sure that you wash your hands really good before you pee, because that could get real
Or just
rough.
have somebody do it for you.
So
I didn't say that.
Definitely wash your hands very well. I learned that one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Administratively though, I would have done it completely different.
Yeah.
I had Dan not sprayed, all of us sprayed right now, and we'd be talking about it.
Yeah.
While I'm going to suck. That's my administrative critique.
So I have one suggestion for a future training evolution. It doesn't have to involve anybody here, but the idea of this might not work, right? That small percentage of this might not work. If we have a future training evolution in which people want to get exposed, I would like to be present for it, and I want to make them fight me. To some extent. Obviously, I'm not going to just like beat the ever-loving crap out of anybody, but like, all right,
Maybe.
you have been cross-contaminated by this, and I'm not being affected, and now I'm putting my hands on you.
Yeah.
Where do you go from here? And we could use either blue guns or UTM or something like that for them to have
Angry bees and pepper spray.
Right. I'm just saying that
I'm getting excited.
this is the stuff I enjoy, so I'm opening that up for future training evolutions.
I'm
I like
glad.
it. We should definitely do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So you saying cross-contamination, like I do think that was like probably the most beneficial thing about experiencing this in case that ever does happen
Right.
to me. How often in your experience have you like responded to some sort of criminal activity and someone tried using it in defense and ended up, I guess, cross-contaminating themselves or?
Oh, it's happened.
backfiring.
It has happened a great deal. I hesitate to assign a percentage to it because you can also talk about uninvolved persons. People off to the side. The place I used to work, they had an outdoor marketplace, and there are people eating dinner on the sidewalk, and some wild transient homeless person is doing something really wild and gets the police involved, and they get pepper sprayed, and the wind happens to be blowing at that point in time, and now everybody eating dinner on the side is this kind of thing. It happens. It's not a bullet, right? It's not a point thing. It doesn't stop immediately upon impacting something. It's aerosolized and can go wherever the wind blows, literally. So in terms of utilizing it and getting some level of cross-contamination, getting some level of blowback, very possible. It's one of the reasons I think anybody who does carry pepper spray should be exposed at least to some extent. In training in my job, there are 3 different levels of exposure. All right, there is a direct exposure where you get blasted right in the face a couple of times. There's an indirect exposure where you get hairline sort of exposure, something like that. And then there's like a 3rd degree exposure where it's a fan or you spray it onto a paper towel or something like that, and you just kind of wipe it kind of half across somebody's face. Those are the kinds of things that are helpful to understand how that pepper spray is going to affect you, depending on how you get exposed.
All right. Well, anything else we want to talk about, guys? All right.
Can we talk about Trey's haircut?
Yeah.
Is it good or bad?
It's a good haircut.
Okay, cool.
It's a very good
man.
haircut.
Looking good.
Cook's classic cuts.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it.
All right.
All right. You want to close it out? You want me to? Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you out here.
Comment down below what you want to see us talk about next time.
See? You should do the closeout.
Well, I'm trying to make you famous, not me.
Oh, God. See you guys.
Bye.
Good job, guys. Hey, not too bad.
We had 12 more minutes.
Lasted a lot more than I expected. I thought it was just going to be like 3 or 4 more minutes worth of video.
Have you watched any of the footage from the day?
I think that was a good conversation.
Yeah.
I think that was worth it.
I really like Fireside.
That was good.
I mean, I think the more of a podcast talk and just being rather informal about it all is
Well, yeah, because there's so much value in our conversations we have just locally.
Yeah,
right,
To get this out.
yeah.
This was just helpful for me too because I did this for fun, like getting sprayed in the face. It was actually forced me to like think about it and consider it. I mean, I started carrying one, but
Yeah.
I hadn't really like
Have you
considered
watched the footage?
like
from that
also
day?
the importance of like
Is
training
there
with one and
enough
the
usable
possible
oil?
cross.
To be honest with you, training evolutions like this are best when they're fun. And yes, there can be parts of it that suck. Getting blasted in the face with pepper spray is not fun in most people's worlds.
Worst decision of my life. Just saying.
You just volunteered to do
But
it.
I'll do it again. I'm gonna do it. And tasers. We're gonna do tasers too.
No, I don't know about that.
Alcohol, let's do tasers.
Dude, I'm all for it, but it's expensive. That's the big
Yeah, 'cause
drawback.
it's a one-shot each
Yeah,
thing,
well,
and-
the tasers themselves are very, very expensive to do.
So we
And-
gotta find a taser sponsor. That's our next goal.
Dun, dun,
Why?
dun.
You can't lawfully conceal those in North Carolina.
Just go assault a cop.
We'll just go grab.
You can't lawfully conceal.
The law's so vague.
So
The
that's
law's so
actually-
vague.
We can just go
That's
grab the
probably
electric
something we should have
fence.
talked about, like concealing.
See how that feels.
Are there any places where you're not supposed to have pepper spray in North Carolina? Or
Yeah.
other places I actually don't know.
They'll stop you at the courthouse, and they won't let you in the courthouse with pepper
Okay.
spray or anything like that.
I checked for like schools and I'm good at work.
Yeah, I don't
so
know.
yeah.
I imagine you can carry on campus and that sort of thing.
About the only thing you're gonna get into a courthouse is a flashlight.
Flashlight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the time, flashlight will be all right.
So just disguise my.
There you
Yeah, I'm
go.
not saying. Sorry.
Just
But,
carry
I
it
mean,
with a flashlight,
the-
put it down in the battery.
The
compartment.
thing about the flashlights that we carry is that the techniques for use are almost exactly like pepper spray. Is that you've hit somebody right in the face with that high candela beam, and they
Yeah.
do
It's
this
very
number,
disorienting,
or
yeah.
they just close their eyes real good, which allows you to reposition yourself
Right.
or start to leave.
Yeah.
And that is the best use of this as a defensive tool.
I feel like for an everyday armed citizen, a pocket light like that, something with high candela, is probably more beneficial of a tool for you than a taser.
That,
Right?
well,
You
that's
think
why I
about, you
started
think about
carrying one.
the application of a taser for law enforcement. They use it when they've already, typically, when they've already controlled of environment, and it's like, I just got to get to
Get
this
that,
guy to
right.
get cuffs on him,
Right.
and he's not complying. This is going to be a hard day for him. I'm going to hit him. And then from a distance, I have a better chance, and they're not always very successful with them,
Right.
as from your story earlier. But you're able to hit them and then get them to a point where you can detain them. That's the application of a taser
Right.
for a law enforcement officer. For a civilian, if you've got those little stick tasers, guess what kind of distance you got to be
You gotta
to
be-
use
you
it? You
gotta
got to be in
all-
contact
yeah,
distance.
you gotta be
And
all-
where do most people carry those things? They don't carry them inside their pockets.
The purse.
They carry them inside their purse. Even if they did carry it in their pockets, I'd love to see you get to that thing in the mouth, and not shock yourself, right? and still,
That's what I would.
take a bunch of punches to the face in the process, because you're at contact distance.
Right, you
So
have to be right over.
the benefits of having a flashlight or pepper spray is I can maintain that distance and have a useful tool, and that's really what you want as the for the purpose of an armed citizen. Try to keep from having my hands
Getting
on
so
them as
close.
much as I possibly can.
Right, because at that point you've lost to one extent or another.
Yeah.
Once you come into direct physical contact, your options become extremely
Lot less,
limited. You look at the George Zimmerman, right? Completely lawful shooting. All right, completely lawful shooting. But he took a bunch of punches to the face. Right, he had a concussion. He was in direct physical contact at that point. And you start introducing a gun into that environment, depending on your level of individual skill with regards to fighting, your coin flip on whether that gun gets turned on you. So pepper spray, flashlight, pepper spray, flashlight.
Distance is your absolute best friend as an armed citizen, especially in terms of a violent encounter where they ultimately are the ones that are going to decide your fate, right? So if you do not have that distance, and let's say, look, I feel like I can hold my own. I've been in several fist fights myself, but through those experiences, I fought skilled fighters, and I fought fighters who don't really know what they're doing, and I've gotten beaten up by both, right? So I mean, it's all it takes is somebody get lucky, land one good lucky punch. And I don't need that happening in an environment where somebody actually decides my fate, right? I can learn that lesson inside of a controlled environment in jiu-jitsu or other martial arts settings and stuff, but in the street, if they get lucky and I get knocked unconscious, they can now do whatever it is that they want.
Yeah, your fate is now in their hands.
Distance is your friend. I don't know. I guess we just
Got an extra 10
got
minutes.
an extra 10 minutes. Yeah.
Now we got 5 more minutes. Let's go. Next subject.
I think we should close it out.
Take 3.
I got to pee.
Now open your eyes and smile. Both of you. Open your eyes and smile now. Look at me. Open your eyes and smile. Look.
If I smile at OC, it's very effective.
Yeah, OC, I'm not playing with you anymore.
Nope.
You win.
Trey, don't ever listen to me. Ever.
Well,
Colton,
I didn't want to.
would you do it again?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He didn't get sprayed well enough.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Heck, we're mostly recovered by now, but we'll keep you updated.
So
if,
he says.
It gets worse. Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.
Wave bye. Something.
I feel really
Thank you.
I don't know
awkward there.
I don't know how to cut it off.